Bare forest, bare and sun. Been regrinding on these 3 blades. And then I thought to myself, oh, that's funny, they're all like bears. And this one is pretty sharp. These two, so this is probably the least sharp right now. And I think we're still dealing with some of the original burned factory steel. But I did a little chopping test earlier, and the knife is very tough. Just that the edge doesn't seem to take a really good edge yet. But I think we'll get there because it was the same story with this one. You can see, same brand, same steel, same year, probably the same deal. And this, after attacking a can, and I needed to, I wanted to put a bit more of a point on her. It kind of came with a rounded tip there, and so I've been grinding on this, flattening a little, convexing. Of course, once you start flattening on top of the finish, you start to see all kinds of stuff popping out. These acid finishes are very good at hiding inconsistencies in the grind. But overall, this thing's. Oh, I did have to also, well, in the interest of truing everything up without removing a huge amount of steel, I did some cold forging here up at the point on both sides. You see here, I was driving this back in, but then because of the grind, I was pushing the original grind off now in the other direction, so I kind of hit it down here closer to the bevel on this side. Sorry about the lighting. Anyway, a few hundred hits. On this side, pretty hard, that hitting into the hammer blows on top of hammer blows here. That's not going to grind out in a hurry. But if you grind it out, then maybe it just, you lose your intervention. So, yeah, it's a user. And it was fine before. Now it should be a lot better. For media, well, this is a piece of ash. Unfortunately, this is take 2 of this video. I forgot to purge my memory, so I already removed a lot of stock from this now. But actually, I see there's like a piece of oak lying there, and there's stuff kicking around we can chop on or whittle on or whatever. But yeah, this is, could be some kind of tool handle or something. It's from ash from a standing dead tree, so it's very dry, and it's actually, a little crispy. It's not quite punky really, but ash has this very open grain. This stuff kind of goes crispy, and so it's not that hard, but it's pretty tough on an edge. I'll just clean up this little area here a little bit. Alright, I got my grain running in this direction, so I'm thinning this way, and I'm kind of leaving it as wide as it can be this way, but tidying up. Just a whittle stick, really. I don't know if it'll ever be the handle for anything serious, but who knows. Could be a neck for a small musical instrument. So, yeah, come a point you don't really want to chop that much more because you start doing damage. Start losing your lines. So I could obviously whittle with this thing as well, but actually, again, down here I think the steel is a little suspect. Right down here, it's not cutting that well down there, and besides which, it's a bit of an unwieldy knife to do this kind of thing. You can, but let's have a look at this. Excuse me, already. See, this will actually whittle. This will shave curls all day. Edge feels really stable. which is kind of what I thought when I saw this knife. I thought, it kind of, yeah, it's thin stock. It's a 1/8 inch thick, but it's a very tough steel. 1/8 inch thick and full flat grind. So, in principle, it is not a very robust knife. But in reality, I think this is probably pretty tough. We can chop a little piece of oak in half and baton it, I guess. I already chopped that piece of apple wood earlier, which is way tougher than oak. And, it didn't have a great edge to begin with, but it powered through and it didn't show significant edge deterioration after all of that. It's not, it's kind of like how you would expect a factory edge to be now. Just this kind of cuts the paper, but it's not very aggressive. But like I say, I just think we're still working through the nasty steel. Could have a ways to go. But the knife works. I can use it. Doesn't have to be shaving sharp if you want to use it for some kind of bushcrafting type scenario. Now this, oh my goodness, this is heavy. This is the base of, I'm pretty sure it's an oak sapling. It feels so heavy. I don't think it's seasoned. Ooh. That's lilac. Right, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna hit this with this thing first. Oh. Just a little peremptory before and after on the paper there. Tore it. Yeah. Not sublimely sharp, but will slice paper. If you get it right, you'll probably be able to. Doesn't have the most forgiving handle vibrations wise. I've been wondering whether, because I learned that having a thinner axe handle, getting some bad strikes here, having a thinner axe handle mitigates shock, whether a taper tang does the same thing. Because balance wise, I don't feel like it needs it, but I think I might have just seen a spark fly. Oh man, I'm so sorry. The camera fell over. You missed the whole thing. Well, I guess you saw me sweating and huffing and puffing. We made it through. Yeah, that's a pretty good result. I think I've got some degradation here. But not so that you would notice it doing this kind of work, So, now, will this baton, 1/8 inch thick, full flat, convex edge on this, very dense, very hard. I think it must be white oak. We got a spoon out of this. Maybe, huh? Maybe. Oops. absolutely easy. I was going to say absolutely no problem, but I didn't even look at the knife. I'm not expecting a problem. So, yeah, do a little spot of whittling on it. Well, yeah, let's rough this out. So, I got to do it. Right? Now we got a really nice, fine kitchen knife geometry on this. I left it a little robust, just in case. Not robust, but it's a little. Could be thinner. Could be thinner for a kitchen knife. Probably a lot thinner. But I'm trying to test the steel, right? Let's be realistic. I'm not getting the calipers out, but you get a notion, okay? You get a notion from this. You get a notion from that. And you'll get a notion from this, probably. Oof. I'm not trying to cut in, right? I'm trying to exercise control here now. Oh, this is an absolutely gorgeous finishing knife. So yeah, what if you can have a knife that'll do you really well in the kitchen and really well in the wood shop? Why not? Again, this is 1/8 inch thick, but you got a lot of backup, full flat grind. But look at all that width for backup. I'm going to take this out and do slashing and chopping and all kinds of stuff. But now, I want to see what happens. This is tough. This bark is nasty. Probably has dirt in it. Okay. And we're going to do some roughing out using this for chopping. So I like this piece because it has this curve in it, right? So I'm going to put the bowl here, and then, the idea is that the bowl's going to come this way, and then the handle will do a curve. So I'm going to kind of carve that thing into this, but we're using the natural shape of the wood. A really nice clear grain in it. Feels very strong. This will be a good self-defense / tactical spoon. So, let's start working in here, because there's a lot to remove here. Tell you what, let's make this even worse, shall we? Fun fact, you're perched on a bucket full of dog turds. Okay, now you imagine with the width of the blade and me jamming this in, the amount of leverage that's being exerted on this fine apex as I'm doing that batoning. Imagine, if you will, right? Because we are testing the steel and the quality of the grind, the knife, on the whole, that whole thing. I went a little over there maybe for the purposes of the spoon, but oh no, that's looking just right actually. So now, I'll come in here. Yeah, when I first saw this thing, especially out of the box, I thought, wow, this could be like more of a camp knife, almost like a wide-bladed bushcrafter type thing. You know? And now, of course, the more I thinned it out, the more I've been thinking of it as something else. But who knows? It's not that thin, and it seems to be putting up with it. Okay, little newspaper. Ah, whoa, hit my knuckle. Hit my knuckle right where I already hit my knuckle. I guess it's because I've been resisting going in with the point too much because I know it's thin. So let's go in with the point more. Stress that tip. Right, well, okay, this is obviously, this is data right here, okay? You've seen what I've just done with this knife, okay? And now I feel like switching back to this one because of the thinner blade. Get some whittling done. Something I noticed earlier, just doing a few little cuts, this handle, and it's exactly the same handle design. There's also a fillet knife, same handle. Right? I could swap the scales around. I even have to do that. Very good. Very good in forward and very good in this reverse position, the way that this hummock here, this double hump, this is a handle they made to put on a range of knives. So they put 3 knives worth of study into one handle, so to speak, if you will. Okay. So would I rather, at this point, this or like a Castrum Lars Falt Bushcrafter for spoon whittling? Absolutely no competition for me. Same weight, much longer blade, way more sweep, way pointier tip, slicier, more steerable, just everything, but way better by my lights. Yeah. Not quite so good for batoning through a knot. If you think you need to do that, ever. Always end up so much smaller than you thought to start out. Right. Well, I'm gonna do some more hard chopping. I'm gonna take about an inch off the end here, in the interest of time. Well, you know, there's a spoon in there. It might be a teaspoon, but 20 minutes. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. I'll keep going with the spoon though. Show you later.